Martin-Kpeyei 95.9.
Take me back to Liberia, where the drums still play my song. Take me back to my homeland. It's the place where I belong.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.
To draw your attention to all of these major happenings in the soonest possible time. But what is fascinatingly significant that we should know is the fact that Lavetta Davis, who usually reads our news for us, is on the line this evening, joining us from all the way there to where she is at this point in time to read for us our news. And I'd like to say good evening, Lavetta, and welcome to the National Discourse. Please read for us our news. We are glad to have you.
All right, thank you so much for having me, Isaac. Let me say good evening to our listeners, good evening to our viewers around the world. Welcome to today's trending news update. Cummings vows to lead the charge in the 19.2 million cocaine investigation, says he will encourage his friends in the international community. ANC political leader Alexander Cummings says he will be leading the charge in the 19.2 million cocaine investigation. According to him, he will contact his friends in the international community to investigate, preserve, and audit the process surrounding the June 8, 2026 drug bust. Cummings noted that he is leading the charge because the government lacks the political will, institutional capacity, and technical competence to conduct a truly independent, professional, and transparent investigation. The ANC political leader stressed that the government has acted in more ways to doubt their impartiality than they have to inspire confidence that they can give the Liberian people justice in the matter. In short, the public has lost confidence in the Unity Party-led government's ability to give the Liberian people justice and stop cartels from trafficking drugs in and through our country, Cummings stated. Former District Number 8 Representative Akaras Mose Gray accuses Police IG Gregory Common of allegedly fighting for MPFL. According to him, President Bouaka allegedly ordered IG Common to arrest Tins Chairman Moba Molu, citing what he described as the intolerant nature of the government. Gray alleged that the police planned to assassinate Molu, but warned that they would not stay in government forever, while at the same time stressing that Unity Party people will account for every crime they have committed against the state. The CDC executive further that President Bouaka and Gregory Common will be prosecuted after the 2029 elections. Meanwhile, Gray accused the Liberian National Police of allegedly being a criminal entity, adding that majority of those serving in the police force were all members of the NPFL. Gregory Common is a criminal. He is a former SOD who also fought with the NPFL, Gray stated. Criminal Court C orders new trial as 15 jurors face arrest over alleged jury tampering. Moreover, Liberia Criminal Court C has ordered a new trial in the high-profile economic sabotage case involving former Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel D. Tuer Jr. and his co-confidants following findings of jury tampering and juror misconduct. The court has also ordered the arrest and detention of all 15 jurors who serve on the panel that handled the case. The jurors are expected to be taken to the Monrovia Central Prison as part of further legal actions arising from allegations that they compromised the integrity of the trial process. The decision follows an extensive investigation launched by Criminal Code C after 3 jurors submitted sworn affidavits alleging misconduct during the trial. The investigation examined claims that some jurors violated the court's private instruction by taking mobile phone and SIM cards into the jury quarters. Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency makes historic drug bust in Douazon. Joint security forces led by the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency have intercepted what authorities described as the largest illicit drug seizure in Liberia's history in Douazon, Margibi County. 2 suspects were arrested at the scene as officers recovered numerous sealed packages suspected to contain high-grade cocaine. Investigations are ongoing to dismantle the trafficking network behind the operation. Information Minister Martin-Kpeyei said the bust demonstrates the government's determination to ensure Liberia is not used as a drug trafficking hub. Samuel Tuer accuses Vice President Kun of allegedly instructing Judge Fiaka to overturn verdict. Former Finance Minister Samuel Tuer has accused Vice President Jeremiah Kun of allegedly instructing Judge Osman Fiaka to overturn a verdict of acquittal on a bogus and a suspicious allegation of jury misconduct. Told the judge finds no evidence linking him or his lawyer to any misconduct, whatever that means. That was the latest news update. My name is Lavetta Davis. Good evening.
To thank Lavetta for reading our news this evening on our today's agenda, our today's segment of our conversation on the national discourse. And I'd like to thank you all there in Radio Land and those of you that are following live via the internet. We want to again re-emphasize and restate that we are happy to having you joining us this evening on Kia 95.9 FM and LIB Future TV. I'm your host, Isaac S. George, and I will be with you from now up on to 9 o'clock this evening so that we can have a conversation surrounding major national happenings across our country. And, there are lots and lots of things that have happened over the period, and today signified exactly that this nation of ours is heading to a tragic end. But before I delve into exactly what we will be discussing here tonight, I think it is significant enough for us to thank Mr. Cummings. Last week, Monday, Mr. Cummings held a press conference. And at that particular press conference, one of the statements he made that I think was particularly progressive and exclusively in the interest of the Liberian people is the fact that he said he will encourage his friends in the international community and those of the people that he has proximity with on the international scene to ensure that the investigation of the 19.1 million drug saga is not a matter, in his words, that will be investigated in a slow and sloppy fashion, because the Liberian people deserve explanation. They deserve a comprehensive update as it relates to this entire drug saga. And Mr. Cummings has been very, very emphatic that he will engage his, there were so many cases where we just saw them being talked about for at least 1 or 2 weeks, and after everything is being done, everything is said, police conduct investigation into those matters, and the public, the Liberian people, those of the people that pay taxes to government, do not even have a proper understanding as it relates to the totality or the entirety of the investigation that the police conducted. If you can bear me witness, there have been several cases where the Liberian National Police or the Joint Security have been able to conduct investigation, and those investigations, after having been conducted, the public is yet to understand all of the formalities surrounding those investigations. The initial aspect, the public will be informed, but as the investigation pushed forward, the public is left in complete exclusion of the investigation. That is, they cannot be informed up to date as to what has been transpiring. So I think it is necessary that we give kudos to, the political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Mr. Alexander Benetti Cummings, for stating, that very clearly, crystally, that it is a matter of national concern. This one, it is not about politics. It is not about which tribe you represent. It is not about which religion you are from. It is not about which, representative you support. It is not about a particular senator whom you support. It is about the future of our country. And the future of our country cannot remain bleak with the presence of drug. It will remain bleak when we have high and huge quantity of drug presence in our country. The issue of drugs in this country, before, people used to just talk about this drug matter, and get done with it. But the way it is at this present time, fellow Liberians, it is very egregious. It is very harmful. It is particularly harmful and counterintuitive to the progress of our country, the image of our country, and the Liberian people to a larger extent. Because these days, when you go to the airport or an international airport, when you are handling a Liberian passport with such a news emanating from the corridors of our country onto the international wire, people tend to look at each Liberian in a disdainful manner, because our country at this present stage, fellow Liberians, is presenting an image of being a drug hub. Our nation is presenting an image of being a drug hub. It is not about the political party you are from. The matter concerning the presence and the existence of drugs in our country poses a grave threat to the image of this country. And that is why Mr. Cummings, as the political leader of the ANC, is saying categorically that the government should be able to encourage his colleagues whom he is going to intervene with, to have a conversation with, and encourage them to ensure that the independence of the 19.1 million drug investigation is a matter that will live. Because we do not need partiality. We do not need people in the investigation or from the joint security to be shooting certain group of people. And I want to commend him, because other people in this country, even though the drug law is a non-biddable crime, the commission of bringing drugs into this country, which is, a grave, national crime, is a non-biddable crime. And as a result of that, people should not be able to go scot-free. But we know individuals in this country, we know people in this country that have been found culpable of getting involved into narcotic circumstances. Investigations have been able to inform the Liberian people of those individuals. And as a result of that, they run away, they leave the country. We do not know their whereabouts. Like in this 19.1 million drug saga, there were 5 persons charged of being found, culpable in this particular matter. But mind you, fellow Liberians, we only have 4 persons. We will have 1 person arrested and 4 persons out of this country. 4 persons out of this country, fellow Liberians. Where are they? We do not know their location. So when we do not know their location, how then can we get them to attend to court, and the court either find them guilty or exonerate them of the crime that they have committed as per the Liberian National Police report? How then do we? So the issue of drugs in this country is a major national issue, that whether you represent the Unity Party, whether you represent a CDC, whether you represent a ANC, whether you represent a CMC, whether you represent a Liberty Party, every other Liberian, void of political affiliation and affinity, you must be able to undress yourself politically, wear the patriotic gown, the gown for which that makes you to understand that nationhood and the preservation of national dignity is a matter of significance, and speak to this drug matter in this country. The future of the young people is at stake. If you are unaware, the young people of this country constitute nothing less than 70%, nothing less than 70% of our total population in this country. And we have the availability of huge level of cocaine and narcotic substances. Such gigantic level is being seen in our nation. And other Liberians are attempting to play politics of this matter, when in fact, drugs, which is a national menace, does not look at a politician, it does not look at a political party, it does not even see a tribe, it does not see a religion. What drugs does, it affects the fabric. It affects the fabric of our society. Every facet of our society will be affected. The social status of this country will dwindle. It will dwindle dramatically. it would dwindle dramatically, fellow Liberians, because the young people are increasingly getting involved into this drug matter. The young people are increasingly getting involved into this drug matter. And it is something that we cannot remain tight-lipped on. We cannot remain taciturn. Fellow Liberians, we must open our mouth wide to speak against it and to call on the government, of the day, President Bokai, Speaker Rachel Cohn, Pro Tem Yombli Kanga Lawrence, and to the joint security, we must be able to call them to book, to have them informed of the grave threat the issue of drugs in this country poses to the progress of our nation and the sustenance of our country's already respected image, which is being particularly disrespected across the globe because we have now turned to a drug hub as a nation. We should do that, and we should be thanking Mr. Cummings for being particularly far-sighted. We should be thanking him for the statement he made for encouraging his colleagues to come and join the joint security to ensure that the process of the investigation is expedited. Today, there was another discovery as per report of 200 million drugs in the VOA area in Martin-Kpeyei County on the Roberts International Airport Highway. Fellow Liberians, you know, when I followed the happenings today in that particular community and saw our journalists, you know, ensuring that the police offload or unload the police truck. In fact, the quantity of drugs that was being put in the bucket of the police truck, I've not seen it before. In fact, I'm finding my words as it relates to me, you know, excellently describing the scene today, because words alone cannot excellently describe exactly what transpired today in VOA. The presence of such a gigantic level of drug in Liberia, as small as we are? Have we now turned into a drug hub? Have we now turned to a nation that is industrializing drugs and other harmful narcotics? Fellow Liberians, is that where we are as a country and people? Is that how low? Is that how debasing we have gone as a nation and people to transport drugs, to have a very monumental level of drugs in our country? Fellow Liberians, it is particularly unfortunate, very, very much unfortunate for us as a country and people to have a scene as such. To have a scene as such. We can no longer discuss national progress. What we are discussing these days is the fact that drugs under this government is a matter. It's a very grave matter. The issue of drugs, fellow Liberians, is a very grave matter. A very grave one. So we cannot play politics with it. We cannot. Because playing politics with the issue of drugs in this country, it doesn't do any good for us. It doesn't offer us significant progress when it comes to tackling, mitigating, and fighting drugs in this country, let us negate attaching our political sentiment to a national menace. Let us negate from that. Let us disengage from such an argument. When the time of politics arises, everyone is going to delve into politics. But the issue of drugs in this country is a very grave national concern. And every concerned Liberian, every patriotic Liberian, every Liberian that believes in the preservation of this country's future, every Liberian that believes in the dignification and the protection of our country's image should understand that it is particularly important that the issue of drugs be tackled in a very holistic, nationalistic, and progressive manner, void of political sentiment as tribal affiliation and religious affinity. That is what we should be talking about. That is the conversation we should be having at this point in time, fellow Liberians. That is what we should be engaging with. But today, it makes the matter much more, ludicrous, but also particularly harmful that other people who are beclouded up by political sentiment are attaching the issue of drugs from one regime to another. The politics have overwhelmed all of you heads. It has awash your thinking that you can no longer see Liberia as a common patrimony. What you see Liberia as a country is a political station where the political parties compete for political power rather than national progress and success. And like I said earlier on, we should be thanking Mr. Cummings because we have not gotten done with the 19.1 million drug saga. Today, we have a historic and major drug bust again in our country. And you know, one thing I always say to people is the fact that there is no way, shape, form, and manner in which you can exclude a major state actor from all of these drug conversations we are having. There is someone in government. I repeat, there is someone in government, either the national legislature, either the judiciary, or the executive. There is someone there that knows exactly about this drug cartel. There is someone. If the police and the joint security, the LDEA lead and conduct a very impartial, independent, credible investigation into the issue of drugs in this country, I bet you someone who is in government or linked to an official of government or a big fish in government will be brought to the public glare, and that person will be heavily scrutinized, criticized, and persecuted. Because such a level of drugs cannot just come into our country, fellow Liberians, without major state actors being in the know. No, not at all. Not at all. I believe so. Someone who is a major state actor in this country is peddling drug using our borders, our seaports, and our airport. That individual or those group of individuals, that particular devilish syndicate, those people who are part of that syndicate, who do not believe in the future of this country, they want to damage the image of this country and the progress of this country. They want to damage it. They want to damage it. That is what they want to do. But we are not going to allow them. We are not going to allow them. Not an inch of space to be utilized by them will be given to them. Not an inch. Because, I've run out of patience. Trust me. I've been reduced or fueled to a dramatic extent. My energy level has reduced dramatically when it comes to speaking to the matter of drug in this country. Today I sat, I wailed, I cried for Liberia. Because this nation is the only place you and I, fellow Liberians, can never be deported from. And when this nation is being deemed, labeled, recognized as a drug hub, it places you and I future in a very precarious position. And that which we do not want to see happen. That which we do not want to see happen. And it is transpiring right before our eyes. You and I. It is transpiring right before our eyes. Fellow Liberians. So we cannot play politics with this matter. And we should be thanking Mr. Cummings, because he wants to help the government in that regard. He wants to assist so that the issue of drug in this country can be fought concertedly, where every hand is on decks to move this nation forward. To move this nation forward. To move this nation forward. That is what we should be doing at this point in time. And that is what Mr. Cummings is doing, which is commendable. It is very commendable. We thank the political leader of the ANC for such a thoughtful gesture. Very thoughtful of him indeed. I want to extol him. You know, the reason why I'm exhorting Mr. Cummings on this platform this evening is the fact that of all of the political leaders in this country, mind you, I'm not saying they are not speaking to this particular drug matter, but he is the only one who has said he wants to encourage his friends in the international community, those of whom that understand forensic investigation, that deal with criminal investigation to a larger extent, to join ranks with the government of the day to see to it that this matter of drug in this country be mitigated, curtailed, and fought to the logical conclusion. And fought to the logical conclusion, fellow Liberians. That is what Mr. Cummings has said. And we want to thank him for that. We want to thank Mr. Cummings for that. We want to thank him. Because the young people in this country, on an incremental scale, they are becoming disadvantaged by the day. They are becoming disadvantaged by the day. In almost 3 years, even though this government campaigned on the basis of tackling drugs in this country, almost 3 years, our young people have not had a safe home to be rehabilitated, to be taken off the street and placed in a structure that provides them the opportunity to get cleansed, to not be able to relapse, and to be subsequently reintegrated into our society. This government, under His Excellency President Bokai is yet to ensure that they commence the erection and the construction of rehabilitation centers across our country that will provide a safe home for victimized young Liberians to get there, be cleansed, have a skill, a vocational skill, and be subsequently, reintegrated into our society so that they can contribute to national progress, nationhood, and the agenda of national unity. This government, even though it was one of the campaign messages of President Bokai when he was in opposition. But what I know this government has done, and I want to speak to it very clearly, is the fact that they have found great interest. They have found extreme interest in galvanizing resources, public resources, to construct political party headquarters across the 15 counties of this country, rather than constructing 15 rehabilitation centers across this country. That is what I know this government has done. And we will continue to say it. We are not going to mince our words. We're not going to waver under the whims of threats and any adversary tactics. No, we are not. We are going to speak truth to the public officials. We are going to speak truth to power. And there is a saying, fellow Liberians, that says, one who preaches equity must come with clean hands. One who preaches equity must come with clean hands. Yesterday, when the Unity Party sat in opposition, the Unity Party criticized the CDC government officials of conducting themselves in a fashion that provokes the Liberian people. The Unity Party led administration at the time, while in opposition, they argued, criticized, and dehumanized to a greater extent members and officials of the Congress of Democratic Change, or the Coalition of Democratic Change by the time. That they were languishing in opulence, they were mismanaging the resources of our state, they were riding the best of cars, they were flying private jets, and they were they were using the taxpayers' money seamlessly in a very deliberately unfortunate manner. Yes, we criticized people yesterday. We said when you are in government, the essence of being government is not to live in opulence at the expense of the Liberian people. It is particularly meant to save, to render service to the Liberian people, because that is the reason for being a public servant. That is the reason for being a public servant, to render services to the people for whom repose their trust and confidence in you as a servant of the public, whom is being deemed as a public servant. So, the football world governing body, FIFA, held her World Cup final in New Jersey in the United States of America recently. And the Minister of Youth and Sports, Cornelia Kura-Tokpa, she went to the United States of America and she attended the FIFA 2026 World Cup final. She was in attendance. And, you know, if you did your research, you will realize that nothing less than 10,000 is what a ticket around the VIP was being sold for at the FIFA 2026 World Cup final in America. People pay 3,000, people pay 2,000, people pay 8,000, people pay up to 13,000 United States dollars to watch the World Cup final. That is how expensive it was. Needless to talk about the plane ticket, to and fro, the hotels, the food. So this morning, it was not this morning, it was last night. If you and I are friends on Facebook, I'm Isaac S. George. If we are not friends, you can search it out. You can search it and you realize that I made a post asking the minister, because a staffer from her office announced that she was being invited. So then I asked the question, if the Minister of Youth and Sports was being invited to FIFA World Cup 2026 final, we're not questioning her on her invitation, because she is a Minister of Sports. As per her portfolio, occasions of sort, unarguably, she will be invited. But what we sought to know is who invited her. Because if FIFA did invite the Minister of Youth and Sports to attend the 2026 World Cup final, there will be an official communication. And when the minister goes to attend FIFA 2026 World Cup final, she will have a tag as an invitee, and the Minister of Youth and Sport will disclose to the public that the Minister of Youth and Sports has received Cornelia Kura-Tukba has received, as Minister of Youth and Sports, an official communication from the FIFA football governing body requesting her presence at the 2026 FIFA or Nations Cup final, World Cup final. That is what will be in that is what the communication will entail. The communication is going to comprise that. But we saw this minister using the diplomatic passport of our country. The diplomatic passport of Liberia is solely given to an official of government on the basis of attending diplomatic functions across the country upon official communication. Upon receiving an official communication, you go to attend diplomatic functions using the passport of the Liberian people. Taxpayers' money enable you to have that particular diplomatic passport. It is one of the privileges of government. It is one. So when you expend public resources in an unjustifiable manner, when you utilize the resources of this country in a fashion that is despicable, egregious, and particularly diminutive towards the progress of our country. And other people came after me this morning, stating that it is the minister's personal life. She can do whatever she wants. Who says she doesn't have to do whatever she wants? Who says so? We are asking the minister because a staff from her office says she was invited. So the question is, invited by who? Cornelia. Cornelia, who did invite you as Minister of Youth and Sport? Why didn't they invite the president of the Liberia Football Federation, LFA? Why did not Mustafa Raji receive an official communication from the Liberia Football Association? He is the president. I'm not saying the minister cannot be invited. I'm saying the body that is responsible for football in this country, specifically, why wasn't the head of that particular body invited? Mustafa Raji. Why wasn't him invited? Also, the minister could go. She could receive she could receive an invitation. But a football association president of our country could possibly be invited as well. So, fellow Liberians, yesterday, we beat on other people. We beat on other people for using the taxpayers' money in an unjustifiable manner. And Cornelia cannot be exempted. She is not immune to criticism. She is not. Not even the president of this country is immune to criticism. So we want to use this platform to those of you that came with your lame attacks, those of you that came with the dim-witted retorts to our honest, impetuated criticism against the minister. You need to go back. You need to go back and think better. You need to go back and read more. You need to go back and understand the backdrop from which we are arguing. You need to go back and understand that. Because to unjustifiably use the monies meant for the sake of our country to appease your appetite for the superficialities of life is something that we are not going to close our eyes on. We are not going to abate our argument, because it is very embarrassing that the things you criticized yesterday, today you have the opportunity to serve. You are replicating those menaces. In fact, the irony is particularly appalling. It is sorrowful that the Unity Party officials of government can wallop in such a visible contradiction. It is sorrowful. Yesterday, the Liberian people channeled their disillusionment against former President Weah through the Unity Party. They channeled their anger through you. It's not because Weah is more hated. It is not also because President Boga is more loved. It is because the Liberian people wants to see change in this country. They want to see the progress of this country. And one of the bases for which they heavily elected you is because corruption is a blockade to this country progress. And government officials using public resources in a manner that provokes the Liberian people It's one of the reasons why the Unity Party is having state power today and having access to the coffers of our state. So you cannot continuously play on the intelligence of the Liberian people under the whims of sophistication. If it is a matter of sophistication, if it is a matter of progress that you want to announce, the Unity Party served 12 years in this country. They led the Liberian people for 12 years. We cannot boast of a sector that is tremendously improved as a nation people, where Liberians can stand tall, extremely proud, and beat their chests and say, this sector of our country, is excellent. It is progressing dramatically. In fact, we can see the visible successes in those sectors. There is nowhere. The Unity Party this year and counting will make the Unity Party 15 years serving the Liberian people. 2029 will conclude them serving 18 years. 18 good years, fellow Liberians. And all we see is those people continue to get rich at our expense. We pay tax. We pay taxes in this country. Our taxes ensure that their vehicles are gassed enough. They live in air-conditioned homes. They earn the fat salaries. They wear the best of clothes. They ride the best of cars. They board the best of airplanes and sit in the best of quadrant of those planes in the VIP section. That is the Liberian people money. There is no minister that travels out of this country on diplomatic passport that uses his or her own money. The Liberian people money is being used. So we will criticize Cornelia. We will criticize Cornelia. We cannot exempt her. We cannot behave as though we did not see her. We cannot. She is not immune from our criticism. She is not. So, fellow Liberians, if you are just joining us, this is Kia Radio 95.9 FM, and you are listening to the National Discourse on Kia FM. This is where we, have national conversations, issues that are particularly important for the progress and forward march of our country. I'm Isaac S. George, and I am very humbled to be seated this evening with you as we, have this conversation, and we are discussing major national happenings that are transpiring across our country, ranging from the issue of drugs to, thanking Mr. Cummings for, stating that he will encourage his friends in the international community to work alongside the Liberia National Joint Security to tackle the drugs, menace that we have been, bedeviled by, that have been bequeathed onto us by, a syndicate that have a relationship with the government. And we have also been able to speak against Cornelia's, action to use taxpayers' money to go to watch the 2026 FIFA World Cup final at the expense of the Liberian people, when yesterday we criticized other officials of the past administration to not delve into such an act because it provokes the Liberian people. It precipitates, a monumental level of anger in the Liberian people. So, I like to say thank you for joining us this evening as we move on with our conversation this evening. Again, I'm Isaac S. George, and let us proceed to our next talking point. The The political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, is one Liberian I truly do admire. A statement that represents the image of every young Liberian across this country. He is a clear exemplification. Mr. Cummings is a clear exemplification of a child who is underprivileged, a child who is at the low places of the earth, a child who is being debased. He is an exemplification of that, rising to the peak of the corporate world through dedication, hard work, perseverance, and extreme level of commitment to professionalism. That is the image Mr. Cummings represents. He did not just stop there. He did not just stop there by climbing the peak of the corporate ladder on the global scene. But what he continues to do is to ensure that, fellow Liberians, he contributes not only to the social fabric of our country as a nation and people, but also on the continent. That is what Mr. Cummings represents. He represents the aspiration of every young Liberian that is living in the Sunni Wen community, that is living in West Point, Nuku Town, Clara Town, and you can name all of the slums across this nation. Because Mr. Cummings grew up in Point 4, as per my research. He grew up in Point 4 with a mother who sold DK clothes. You know those clothes that come from the United States and other countries across, and a father who was a Baptist preacher. So he did not come from an affluent family. He did not come from a family that had wealth. He came from a humble family that believed in hard work. And he rose to the corporate ladder on the international scene. He rose there. Mr. Cummings rose there. So, after that, Mr. Cummings proceeded to coming back to this country and assisting, rendering his services, rendering his philanthropic gestures to where the need was. To where the need was. Mr. Cummings received in 2014 the Humanitarian Award, the greatest award that can be given to any Liberian. Not because he climbed the corporate ladder on the global scene. Not because of that. It was particularly because of his humanitarian gestures, his philanthropic will towards society. I mean, the African continent and the Liberian people. I'm heading somewhere. I'm heading somewhere. And I want you to listen very keenly. When Mr. Cummings received the Humanitarian Award from Her Excellency President Salif, one may want to ask, what did Cummings do that enabled him to receive such, a very respected, well-revered kind of award from Her Excellency President Sirleaf. Mr. Cummings, when Ebola was ravaging the fabrics of our nation, Mr. Cummings was one of those Liberians that said, no, I need to get on the ground, wear my boots, and ensure that we help the government through the health sector to tackle the Ebola crisis. Yes. In contribution, assistance, and humanitarian gestures to this nation, Mr. Cummings in total contributed over 1 million through giving assorted medical materials, through paying health workers, as well as providing safe home for people that were being affected by the Ebola virus. In this country today, Mr. Cummings has the Cummings Africa Foundation. The Cummings Africa Foundation provides scholarship for Liberian kids, school-going students. Those young people in this country that are going to school, the Cummings Africa Foundation provides scholarship opportunity to attend any university of your choice in this country, as well as any high school. You do not need to be a member of the Alternative National Congress. You do not. You do not also need to be a member of the CDC or the Unity Party. You need to be a Liberian. The Cummings Africa Foundation is providing scholarship. People are benefiting from said scholarship opportunity. Mr. Cummings in this country has single-handedly given loans out to people. 50,000, 100,000, 75,000 in loans and grants to get involved into entrepreneur activities, fellow Liberians. Entrepreneur activities. Yes, he has done that. He continues to do so. I remember when the Booker Washington Institute did not have a generator to provide electricity at the BWI in 2015. Mr. Cummings again gave a 60 kVA generator to BWI. And in fact, the electricity was so enormous to the extent that the neighboring communities around BWI were benefiting from the electricity being provided by that particular generator. Yes, that is what Mr. Cummings has done in this country. And Mr. Cummings continues to do so. Mr. Cummings continues to do so. Like I said, I'm heading somewhere. And I mean, stick with me. I know exactly where I'm heading to. Yes, Mr. Cummings continues to help Liberians, provide scholarship opportunities, give out loans through his Cummings Africa Foundation. You know, last week, Tuesday, Daniel Sando, the Deputy Minister for Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, made a remark for which I think needs some level of clarification. We need to refute it in the strongest possible term, as well as provide our own antithesis to him. because I think he spoke on the basis of party, proximity, rather than looking at what Mr. Cummings has done. He slammed, fellow Liberians. Daniel Sando, the Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, slammed Mr. Cummings' contribution to this country through questioning what has Mr. Cummings done for the progress of this country. Daniel Sando, are you kidding me? Daniel Sando, are you kidding? Mr. Cummings who hasn't taken a governmental position in this country, who hasn't lived on the Liberian people's sweat, who is not a proponent of the suffering of the Liberian people, who is not an instigator of the suffering of the Liberian people, is the Mr. Cummings you are questioning as it relates to his contribution to this country? Is that it? Daniel Sando, Mr. Minister? And someone once stated that Daniel Sando sometimes, gets intoxicated. And I want to believe so. Because someone who is particularly sober enough cannot make such a statement. He cannot, or she cannot. Because what sobriety brings to you, it brings extreme level of clarification that you just do not speak off head. You speak with facts. And as the Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, you do not speak in a fashion that creates enmity or perhaps cloud the facts. No, you do not speak that way. You don't. You speak in a fashion as Deputy Minister for Public Affairs to provide clarification. I actually spoke with someone. We were having a chit chat, and I told the person, I said, for a government to succeed, it needs people who are responsible enough, people who believe that the progress of the government hinges on how responsible, how respectable the information regarding the government of the day is being conveyed to the public. That is the essence of the position for which Daniel Sando sits in today. But I believe that Daniel Sando shewed his level of incompetence under the whims of attacking critical voices in the government, against the government. He shewed his incompetence under that by using innuendos, invectives, and sidebars. Because fellow Liberians, if you are competent enough, your every press conference will not be a moment that provides you the opportunity to attack critical voices, but rather provide tangible information to the Liberian people as it relates to the progress of the day that is being made by the government. That is what the position calls for, Daniel Sando. And you, as the Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, is delving into matters that can be akin or descriptive of trivialities. No, Daniel. No. You cannot. Yes, fellow Liberians. So we want to condemn the Deputy Minister's statement. We want to condemn it. Mr. Cummings has contributed immensely to this country, and his agenda he has for this country. Daniel Sando, Jeremy McPia, and those of the zealots, those radical unity party partisans, to all of you, Mr. Cummings has consistently said, and I want to be particularly repetitious in the fashion that serves as a reminder to the Liberian people that we do not deserve to suffer as Liberians in this country. We do not. We do not deserve to suffer. Why are we suffering? Because unjustifiably, the public monies have been spent. The public monies have been spent. And Mr. Cummings has said wasteful spending is one of the policies that he will institutionalize, because the way government officials spend money in this country is not justifiable. You see one government official salary, you see all of the amenities he or she has, and you tend to ask yourself, if this guy can live in such level of affluence and government public institutions are wallowing in destitution, then we are not going anywhere as a nation and people. If civil servants are only paid $150 when the economy of our country doesn't render you or provide you the opportunity for a civil servant to, excellently utilize that 150, then we are not going nowhere as a country and people. And that is what Mr. Cummings has said consistently. Wasteful spending. We look at the places where we are spending wastefully, to take those monies and redirect them to the civil service of our country. Because civil servants in this country who are making $150, it cannot do nothing for them. 150 USD is not any money that can survive or that can enable you to survive a month in Liberia, because transportation is on the increase, rentage is on the increase, local commodities in our country are on the increase. What can 150 do? When will you pay rent? When will you pay your way to go to work? When will you pay your children's school fees? What can 150 do for the Liberians? 150 can do nothing. 150 does nothing for anyone in this country as a take-home pay. When will you save for your future? If you are earning $150 as a civil servant. And that is what Mr. Cummings is saying. In order for us to assist our civil servants so that they can protect their future. So government officials, they do not deserve the amount of money they are, earning by the end of the month, because they should be providing service to the Liberian people. It is not to be, getting wealthy and gaining wealth at the expense of the Liberian people. Government is not a place to get rich. If you want to get rich, get involved into entrepreneurial activities, get involved into business, invest your money. But many of our people go to government because they think and feel, and which is a fact, the government of the day provides them an opportunity for them to get wealthy. It is very, very, very disheartening. Very disheartening for the Liberians. And I want you to sit. Look at yourselves. Ask as to whether you are better now as a country. As to whether you are better now. Are we better now? Are we better now as a country and people? Are we better now? Are we better now? Are we better now? Because we are not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere. And you have Daniel Sandel, who should be preaching the policies of the government, is attempting to attack Mr. Cummings and criticizing Mr. Cummings' presence in this country and asking what has been his contribution. When President Boca was in opposition yesterday, when he was launching the Boca Foundation, Cummings was one of those donators to his foundation. I was there present. Mr. Cummings gave the former vice president, now president, at the time former vice president, gave him 5,000 United States dollars. Oh, you think we do not know? 5,000 United States dollars to commence the operations of his foundation. That is what was given to the vice president. And you want to ask of Mr. Cummings' assistance in this country? You know how many people Mr. Cummings has helped? Do you know how many people Mr. Cummings has helped? Recently, to the Destiny Recovery Center. It is a rehabilitation center. Mr. Cummings donated mattresses and gave funds. Yes. Mr. Cummings, he donated mattresses and gave funds to assist those people there that are, providing services to young Liberians that have been victimized by the issue of drugs in this country. And Daniel Sandel, who is responsible enough, is acting very irresponsibly. He should focus on addressing the major issues faced by the Liberian people through providing alternative means that have been institutionalized by the government. Provide the information to the Liberian people. Provide the information. Provide the information to the Liberian people. Other than resorting to attacking Mr. Cummings. Other than resorting to attacking Mr. Cummings. Because Mr. Cummings has done much more than any Liberian in this country, a challenge, than any Liberian in this country that has not gone to government. Mr. Cummings has done more. He has. This government has failed on employment. The vice president alluded to it. The vice president said they have not been able to employ Liberians. The vice president did state that they have not been able to employ Liberians. Employment. The Liberian people are still yearning for empowerment and employment opportunities under this administration. Unemployment. A single foreign direct investment this government has not been able to attract. A single foreign direct investment to enable Liberians to put food on their tables. Liberians do not have that opportunity. They do not. Liberians do not have that opportunity. And you want us to believe that the government is making significant strides when in fact the government is failing. This president, when he was campaigning to us in 2023, this president stated categorically that he was going to run an effective but small government. That is, the already established institutions he will ensure, utilizing his quote unquote 40 years of governmental experience, that line ministries and agencies of government will be much more effective. But today, this president have established more committees than any other president I've ever seen in the history of our country. President Bogai. President Bogai has Yellow Machine Committee. He has Economical Committee. He has this committee, that committee, and so many other committees that I cannot name on this platform. So then we ask, the statutory responsibilities given to line ministries and agencies that are responsible for all of these committees you are establishing, Mr. President, what are they going to do when you have several committees being established? When you have several committees being established, who will soon take calls? We have at most 9 minutes to go to the lines to take calls. So, the government cannot be fueling on its own arrest agenda. The government cannot continue to fuel on its own arrest agenda. This government cannot continue to feed on propaganda. This government cannot continue to feed on, abusing the reality, washing away the reality of the day. Somebody said the economy is doing well. If the economy is doing well, the old lady in Bokonjile, the old lady in West Point community, the old lady in Sasstown, the old lady in Swakoko, the old lady in Sanikwele, the old man in Ganta City will feel the impact of the well that the economy is doing. If the economy is doing well, the economy cannot do well on paper, and the economy cannot do well on the Liberian people. The economy is doing well on paper. But is it impactful? Is that well that the economy is doing impactful on the people? Look at our health sector today. Nurses are protesting for, discrepancy at their workplace, disparity in salaries and benefits, and certain people are not being paid by the way. Certain people are not being paid. It is very embarrassing. It is very embarrassing, fellow Liberians. And someone wants us to believe, that is the person's idea. The person wants us to believe that the government is doing well. The government is doing well. Where is the government doing well? The government is not. The government is not doing well. In my belief, the government is not doing well. The government should do well, because the Liberian people did not repose their trust and confidence in you because Joseph Bogai is loved. No. Excuse that love idea. The Liberian people reposed their trust and confidence in you as a president because they believe you can change the dynamics. You can redirect a course where they can believe in the future of this country again. But since you came to the presidency, Mr. President, the contradiction is telling under your watch as president. Under your watch as president, Mr. President, the contradiction is telling. The contradiction is telling. Under your watch as president, there is a historic level of increment in the drugs crisis of our country. There is a historic level of young people getting more and more involved into drugs in this country. They have been victimized by the presence of drugs in this country, and the government attempts to provide solution to the problem when the government is pretending to provide solution to the problems. Liberians continue to remain unemployed under your watch as president, even though you brag of having governmental of having governmental experience, even though you brag of that, Mr. President. Under your watch, government ministers are targeting critical voices and utilizing innuendos and invectives, foul languages against critical statesmen that disagree with the way, the fashion, and the manner in which the government is proceeding. You yourself, as a president, is not responding to criticism in the fashion our president responds to criticism. Who told you that all of the Liberian people that are criticizing you as president can be president at once? They cannot. They are criticizing you because they feel disappointed by you, Mr. President. They trusted you, they elected you, they voted you. But your actions and inactions are in complete, clear, stark, and vivid contrast to exactly the reasons why you were being voted as president in the first place, Mr. President. And you do not want the people to criticize you. You do not believe that criticism is a major tenet of democracy, that criticism plays a vital role in the progress of a country, that criticism keeps the government feet to the fire, that criticism makes the government to maintain its level of upbeat to work in the collective interest of the citizenry. Criticism is very vital. And you cannot respond to criticism with dismissive comments. That is not how a responsible president behaves. That is not how a responsible president behaves. The people who voted you have all right to criticize you, even though they voted you. Even those of the people who did not vote you, they cannot be un-Liberian because they did not vote you. It is part of the democratic tenet of democracy, Mr. President. So criticism must be receptive of your administration. You cannot have ministers of your government responding to responsible critiques in a very repressive, dim-witted, as well as very dishonorable fashion. No. You cannot have your ministers using our diplomatic passport when he or she has not been invited to a diplomatic function and using state covers, utilizing the resources of our state to attend a function that he or she was not invited to at the expense of taxpayers. No, Mr. President. So, fellow Liberians, we like to say thank you for joining us on Kia Radio 95.9 and joining us through LIB Future TV. I'm Isaac S. George. I've been seated in this seat this evening, having a wonderful, intriguing conversation with you since 7 o'clock. Now it is 8:30. I think it is now time we go to the line to listen to our callers, and those of you that have been following us via Radio Land. The numbers to call 07755 and 0881871670. 077759595 0881871670. The numbers to call 07779599959. Pardon, 07779599959. Is the number to call. 0881871670. Good evening. Your name is and where are you? Oh, we do not have a caller there. I thought we did. 07775999959. 0881871670. The numbers to call us this evening. Good evening. Your name is and where are you joining us from? Hello, caller. I think we lost that caller. 0777. Hello. 077759959. 088187 the numbers to call 07775999959. 0881871670. The numbers to call us. Hello? This evening. Yes, good evening. Your name is and where are you calling us from?
Calling Prince Yabawolo, calling from Oro Tubo.
Yeah, Mr. Yakbawolo, let's hear you.
The problem there with Joseph Parker making phone all Liberian people.
Okay.
Because as long as people are follow of us, you might expect me so. Getting me?
I'm listening to you.
Again, perfect.
Oh, Prince dropped the line. I think Prince credit was being harmonized. 077599959 the numbers to call. Good evening. Your name is and where are you joining us from? Oh, I think we lost that caller. So I make your voices heard this evening on Kia Radio 95.9. We've been discussing critical national issues. We've been talking about Mr. Cummings' statement. We've been discussing the historic increment of drug in this country. We told you about Daniel Sandos slamming Mr. Cummings' statement. We, delved into Mr. Cummings' agenda, his economic policy, as well as, telling the Liberian people that this administration should be able to accept criticism. So join us by dialing 07775999959 and 0881871670. The numbers to call us this evening on the line so that you can participate on the national discourse this evening on Kia 95.9 FM. So, since we do not have callers yet, let me say this. The Liberian people, when they repose their trust and confidence in you, they repose it on the basis of you bringing to light their aspiration. They repose it on the basis of you providing the needed services. They do not repose it for you to live in affluence and opulence. That is, they do not repose it for you to be rich. They do not give you power for you to live at their expense. They do not give you power for you to go abroad every now and then. No. What the Liberian people do when they repose their trust and confidence in you is for you to do what is just and good. Good evening. Your name is and where are you joining us from? We have a caller there.
Is this Jefferson?
This is not Jefferson. This is Isaac S. George.
Okay, no problem. You and Jefferson have some similarity in the voice, but anyway, no problem.
Who's there? What's your name?
It's Poker.
Come Poker Rabble. What's up, bro?
Yeah. We are man saying our list about the corner.
Where are you joining us from?
Thank you very much. As I said earlier, Pocket Rabble for the public, and I join you this evening for unknown destinations.
Always calling for unknown destination. Go ahead.
Dear brother, you see where it's unfolding. Law have been bent. Law have been thwarted. Only because of death like a dasper. And as a political force, you want to disclose your locality at all time. It will be safely for you to disclose your locality where our law like govern all. Even the presidency is a subject to that law. The law have been thwarted, have been butchered, have been broken. All day you see everything that is unfolding. But there was no problem. This is coming like the for them, so we'll just live by it. But for the record, as I said earlier, I want to speak on the trust issue.
Yes, please go ahead.
For Mr. Kumipa, I don't need to even tell people about the credibility, competence of Mr. Kumi. There, I think in the Bible, just a delay is just a denial. I mean, just a denial, it's not just a delay. Yeah, because justice will still manifest. Sure. Mr. Kumi, a time will come. It's not because today he hasn't been seeing the green light, but I know optimistically that Mr. Kumi is at the head of the presidency. Now, by the for fact, a cool leader, people have bad ideology. Now, the Karikado government have no tangibles to even show the Labyrinth what they have done. Put Mr. Kumi the Pelasco and put Mr. Brother the Pelasco. There's a long line of demarcation. There's a long line of demarcation between nationalists and parasite. Yeah, but anyway, let me see on the drug issue.
Yeah, please.
The drug issue, basically, yeah, do I conclude? The drug issue, basically, is very, very serious, my dear brother. I say.
Yeah, Poker.
I say, US of 40, once we are they kind of quantity of drugs. Trust me, man, it was not entering this our country. Even when we were entering this our country, see the door and see the actor now. Because with George Fiaco, we expected it to be put on stop. If I say is the problem for this, when I say have gone, I don't expect any real occurrence.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't expect any occurrence. But for now, you can see the people that even George we are talking about imported drugs. Only that movie genius say no, we don't want to get the country now. Forget it now. We're not even hiding again. We bring it for one loss. You see what happened today? I can tell you, the government the thing like you put your pocket as a. But I think you put your pocket, you walk in hand. I mean, that thing will be passed by it should be passed by a border with authority.
Sure.
We need authoritative a word that even escorted a with confident. Today, the nothing been job is all the carpet of all the way needs of the hurricane integrity have been brought to the public state. They have been only because they call I want my own. That my own I will run the country. You were very with job. You were even setting example on your own people. I can even tell you, I'm poker, I'm one. People are talking people say, but who's job we have set example on our poker. When I was falsely accused, job we have tested himself and say, if you want to be part of me, nobody should be following in such your eye. What are you alleged? Go and vindicate yourself. And we went to the court, we went to the investigation and to the court, the final arbiter of justice vindicated us.
Yeah, so Poker, conclude 30 seconds, please. Conclude 30 seconds.
The government are in power only protecting that. Quit Johnson, kill our brother, Joshua, the late Joshua. We're in the watchful outcast, spiritual evidence. We got 2 footage.
Okay, Poker. Thank you so very much. Let us take the next caller there. Good evening. Your name is and where are you joining us from? Yes, good evening. You are live. Your name is and where are you joining us from? Yeah, Paco from the Unity Party Intellectual Bureau. Let's hear you.
I think you get people some time.
Paco, please make your point.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me tell the comment, thank you so much.
Okay.
Let me tell on the PR, on the YouTube now, and on the YouTube for Colorado, and the dear boss. Let me tell them thank you. And the officer we can't see the working with the Liberian people. At least now in my community of years, I can see some more than before.
Okay.
Thank God, yeah.
Okay.
No, the children, no cattle now in my player.
Okay, Paco.
Flower to the government.
Okay, Paco.
Before the trust, today we can get a need a season trust of pro EJ. Come and control the case. That before we get nothing about trust.
Okay, Paco.
That be fact. That because you lost so the trust program one law we do wrong. We for the bureau, we can tell what you are the truth. We not going to cross over say you are the labor.
Okay.
So my secretary so a bit made use Liberian people. The choice see today. And leave generally upon generally went and people went exposed. So we can get president, can get flower. That because he is so
okay.
Them today our children.
Yeah, Paco. Yeah, Paco, you got 30 seconds.
Yeah, some of them compound to their parents. At least everything is very important of the country. But don't say, oh, take a test and use the Liberian people. They're not good.
Okay.
So, what the car into the game, they have said the car in our correction, they can have car in the play.
Okay.
Let's say the pick.
Okay, Paco. Thank you very much. We have another caller there. Good evening. Your name is and where are you joining us from?
Prince of
Yes, Prince Yakbawolo, thank you for joining us. Please make your point.
Yeah, well, I said I was talking about the trust issue.
So please make your point and forget about responding to the fellow.
Okay.
Okay.
The trust issue can be resolved for this country. Because the people are to the puller, the people with the people onto the puller are people that follow corruption like their hair, called president.
So are you accusing the president of, being full of corruption?
Yes.
How is the president corrupt?
Because how will be to the puller, they allow just come in.
But the president is not to the Buddha like Yakbawolo. The president is not to the Buddha. So
he anything. He's the head of them. Anything the child do, you put on the model.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. We're listening, please.
So big thing, what I excuses is me.
It's like Yakbawolo credit was being harmonized. 077599959088187160167. The numbers to call us this evening on the national discourse. We've been having conversations surrounding other trending national issues, and you can join us this evening by placing your call to 07775999959 and 08818711670. The numbers to call and participate here this evening. You know, we've been having conversations surrounding this particular drug issue. Reportedly 200 million worth of drugs, the 19 million saga that is still under investigation. We've been talking about how the Unity Party is a party that is not very much receptive of criticism, and I think they criticized other people yesterday, and they were not dehumanized. Today, they should be able to allow criticism to live under their regime. They should not allow criticism to go to bed. I think they should be able to create the opportunity where other Liberians that have dissenting opinion, can be able to disclose and assert their dissenting opinion. So we'd like to say thank you for joining us this evening. The numbers to call are 07775999959. 08818711670. The numbers to call this evening. Since we are yet to have calls, this is it. This country is about to celebrate its 179th independence as a nation and people. 179 years old as an independent nation. Over 200 years of existence. Over 200 years of existence. That is, since 1822 to 2026, we should be 204 years old as a nation. Over 2 centuries, this country is the way it is at this moment. It is the way it is because we have allowed corruption to live. We have allowed our government officials to harm us more than help us. We have allowed them to spit in our faces with corruption, with, insult, and all manner of, menaces that have meted against us as a country. We have allowed that as a nation and people. That is what we have allowed. So, the impending Independence Day, I want to know, what are we really, celebrating as a nation and people? What are we celebrating? What are we celebrating as a nation and people? What are we celebrating? Are we celebrating corruption? Are we celebrating division as a country? Are we celebrating segregation? Are we, fellow Liberians? Is that what we are celebrating? Is that what we are celebrating? Is that what we are celebrating? We cannot be proud of ourselves when we are not a developed nation. We cannot be proud of ourselves when we are not a nation that is united under a singular umbrella. We cannot be proud of ourselves when certain group of people in the country, are benefiting while the other group of people are living at the low places of the earth. We cannot, fellow Liberians. And this is what I want you to know. This is what I want you to know. That for a nation to be truly independent, that nation is a nation that feeds itself. Do we feed ourselves? Can we produce in this country? What are we producing as a nation and people? Has Liberia been transformed into an independent, industrialized nation? Have we? We have not. We have not. But certain group of people believe and think that Liberia is for them. They can sit in their respective offices, sit at their homes, enjoy themselves, while the common people continue to suffer. So we cannot, fellow Liberians. So if you've been listening this evening, the numbers to dial to participate on the platform this evening, 0777599959, 0881871670. The numbers to call this evening to participate on the platform this evening, 077759999959, 9959 0881871670. The numbers to call this evening if you've been following us live to participate this evening on the platform. We have at least 10 minutes to leave from here. So, the celebration of our nation's independence is not just a day meant for government officials to go sit in a very ceremonial event and then go back home after fine speeches have been made. No. The celebration of the nation economy, or of the nation's independence, pardon, is meant to tell the common people where we're from, where we are presently, and where we are heading to. But this country is so stagnant to the extent that were you to listen to any orator of our National Independence Day celebration, said person will continuously critique the government of the day, past government that have led the people of this country, other than adulating or praising the government. Because why? We have not made significant strides in progress in our respective sectors of this country. So if you've been following us, we have a little over 9 or 8 minutes to be here, and the numbers to call through to have your voices being heard 07775999959 0881871670. The numbers to call to participate this evening on the platform. So as I was saying, that is the essence of the celebration of independence. It is not just for you gaining your independence. It is also meant for you to sit and reflect on the joining of your independence. Where did you start from? How far have you come? What plans do you have for the future? That is why nations across the world celebrate independence. But Liberia case is different. We listen to fine speeches. We sew the best of clothes. We wear the best of coat suits. Sit in a hall and merry-make, while the common people cannot feel the impact of independence. Because when a nation is truly independent, that nation does not live on donor fundings. That nation does not brag about corruption like the way we do. I believe we brag about corruption in this country because the only conversation we have is about corruption, political maneuvering, backbiting, division. No, that is not how it should be. That is not how it should be. That is not how it should be. So, fellow Liberians, before I conclude, each generation has its own mission. It is either to fulfill your mission or to negate the obligation for which that mission has placed upon you. And we have decided as a group of young Liberians that our mission in this nation is to restore dignity. And our effort to restore dignity to this country is to support Mr. Cummings. That I can be very proud of to state on this platform, is to support Mr. Cummings. Because we do believe Mr. Cummings' ideas for the progress of this nation and the forward march of this nation is so conventional. That is, other countries across the globe that are making major progress in their respective sectors are utilizing the same idea he is trying to emulate in Liberia, were he to be president. That is what he is going to do. So let us look at the future of our country. Let us look at the current condition of the state and think, as every one of us look forward to 2029. So if you're listening, you want to participate, perhaps you did not hear me read out the numbers: 0775999959, 0881871670. The numbers to call. We have at least 4 minutes to leave this studio this evening. 0877599959, 0881871670. The numbers to call us this evening. So Mr. Cummings has a very progressive idea, and he is a very pragmatic man, pragmatic to an undeniable extent. You cannot deny how practical Mr. Cummings is, and his practicality has been exemplified, felt, and seen. Other people can serve as witnesses and evangelists of how practical he is as a Liberian who wants to see change in this country. That is why we are pushing Mr. Cummings. That is why we are pushing Mr. Cummings. So, fellow Liberians, we like to say thank you for joining us on our today's edition of the National Discourse. I'm Isaac S. George, and usually we will have these conversations. We want to thank every one of you that listened to us, every one of you that followed us via the internet. You know, the National Discourse is a platform that, you know, creates the opportunity for every Liberian to have their voice, you know, be heard as it relates to critical national issues. And we are excited to having you with us every Tuesday and Wednesday evening as we discuss matter of national concern that, you know, border on the progress of this nation and the future of this country. So I want to say thank you for joining us. Do join us here on our next edition as we bring to your attention all the major national happening, and as we look forward to your participation on our next segment. Thank you for joining me. And Tuzon Sara Control and Enable Designs. I want to thank him also. Join us next time. I'm Isaac S. George. Bye-bye.
LIB, stand up. Take me back to Liberia, where the drums still play my song. Take me back to my homeland. It's the place where I belong.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.